Now, as you're studying and getting ready for the CISA certification, you're going to notice that there are some overlaps in the different domains. And certainly what we're going to talk about in this lesson, the information systems maintenance practices, are things that we cover in a different domain to a lot more extent. So it's kind of an overview, review, if you would, which is, of course, about change. Now, change is something we expect in all the systems, whether it's change by the vendor or something we've internally developed. Change can also come from extra regulations or changes in classifications, especially when we think about the classification of the data or the types of data. Maybe it's a change because of audits. Audits have found we're not sufficient in certain areas. Or it could be changes because bad things have happened, outages have occurred, people have hacked in, and we need to make changes to avoid those incidents in the future. Now, when we're talking about changes, we know that they should undergo an authorization process. That means there has to be a methodology that exists that we can, number one, prioritize the changes, especially if we get a lot of them, and have a process of approving those change requests. Now, the authorization should be obtained from the appropriate levels of management, and many change requests can come from a trouble ticket that's issued by a user. In fact, many of them do come from the users. Changes can also be received by the vendor. All of the changes should become a part of the permanent documentation and maintenance records. Now, after you receive a trouble ticket and the appropriate approval for the change has been obtained, at some point you should have documentation of the user's approval that you can add to that documentation. Now, I want to just point out here that a trouble ticket is something that a lot of larger companies use in change control. In other words, if somebody doesn't report it as a problem, and by the way, remember, trouble tickets come from more than users. It could be as a result of your audit that you've done, and you've noticed things need to be changed. Anyway, some companies and some corporations, some of you watching this, you might not have this process. You might not have trouble tickets. But it's a way of just basically saying somebody's reported a problem, and that starts the ball rolling at determining if there needs to be change, or maybe it's a user error, but either way, it begins an investigation. And at some point down the road, we need to make sure that wherever this trouble ticket originated, that we also get their approval as far as it being fixed. Now, as I said, in this process, any change done to the system should be documented and should be stored as a maintenance record for that system. I've been into places where that maintenance record is written down on a pad, right, where somebody's put in the date, their name or initials, what the symptoms were, what they did to fix it, and it's literally, just kind of in a little plastic cover that's taped to the top of the servers or onto the top of the routers. Others have full-blown change control or change management systems that document everything by serial number, and it's just amazing stuff. Either way, that history, that information is going to be of great importance so that you can help troubleshoot future problems, or just for your maintenance records, or for general troubleshooting. Whenever a program has been changed, it needs to be tested and eventually certified, just like you did before you first deployed it. You may also have to do a new risk analysis after any of the changes have been made. And any additional testing should be done as needed, such as, did the change cause the existing functionality to be damaged or altered? Was there any degradation of the service? Have any of the new security exposures been created by this change?